Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are and whatever time you're watching this. If it's night time, then I hope you're going to go to sleep soon because that's essential. I'm going to be talking to the wonderful me for Queen or Mary in a minute. But first, we're going to watch the video that is always at the start of this show. If you haven't realised by now, we always play this lovely little video from the wonderful people at Analog Trash, and an independent record label. Do watch it, enjoy the psychedelic moments, and do then go and check out their website afterwards. There you go. Did you enjoy that, Mary?
What's your connection with Analog Trash?
We decided to allow them to sponsor the show. By that, what I mean by that is that they occasionally send me a box with some lovely goodies in it.
Great.
But actually, I just know Adrian, and he's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Of trying to push independent music. And look, it's hard work, isn't it?
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Great. So he's doing a great job. And the current thing is, folks, if you check out their website, is that they've got some lovely surprise boxes. You get £50 worth of music in various hard format forms for half the price. You don't know what you get in the box. That's the cool thing. But I think that's fun. That's fun, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Pick and mix. Maybe you should put some pick and mix in there as well, because I love some sweets. Hey, are you a sweet person or a chocolate person?
Both.
Are you?
But yeah, I always send out a few sweets if I'm sending out physical stuff, because I just think if you don't like sweets, I mean, I don't know, it hasn't really come into my consciousness that you wouldn't. You could always pass them on, but it's just a nice thing to find in a package, isn't it?
Well, and the great thing is, by then sending out those, is that you're encouraging people to need to exercise. You see what I did there? Which is, again, is an essential part of life, like eating. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a cycle, isn't it, actually, that we all go round, which is that we eat, therefore we need to exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, in some ways. That's certainly how my brother-in-law got into it. Even if now he would say he's kind of, it's expanded a little bit. But yeah, he definitely started being a personal trainer so that he could just eat more or eat what he wanted.
Really? Yeah. So... I wanted to start with that piece of music and the video because it's fantastic. You look like you were having so much fun out there in the woods.
Yeah.
Was it a group of friends or was it people that you'd never met before? Was it a mix?
Yeah, it was basically they're friends that we've made through because we moved here just nearly 4 years ago, and
here being where?
Here being just outside Reading.
Lovely, yeah.
And our plan was always to move up to Scotland, but this was a kind of short-term plan with my sister, just to live near each other while we had very small children at kind of roughly, the same age. And she started up what was affectionately known as Mum Gym. Because she did her knee in, so she couldn't run. And so my brother-in-law was a bit like, well, you could just start kind of doing some strength training, doing some, squats. I'd never done any squats.
Wow.
4 years later, it's now a sort of community exercise franchise that she started. And, that sort of sense of community, obviously, through lockdown, that idea of actually knowing the people, engaging with the people who live near you, because we moved here and we didn't know anyone. yeah, this has become an amazing way to just feel part of a kind of to feel part of a network of, the people who live near you, who might, you might not have tons in common, but through just coming together 2 or 3 times a week, and then also through lockdown, we were kind of paired up, and we found ways to kind of, because you were allowed like to exercise with one other adult. So we put this big spreadsheet together, and it became like a real lifeline for people through that time, of just being able to get out the house once a week to just go and do something for yourself, particularly people with small children. It's just,
So was that the inspiration for the track, or was
yeah, loosely, as with, the whole of the album, it's sort of, there were elements of it that started, like the grains of it started in lockdown, and then for us personally, we moved through a kind of a sort of different, we came out of COVID and moved into a slightly different phase, which was sort of COVID by another it's another kind of lockdown, basically, where my husband was ill. And so life sort of shrank for a little bit, and this community around us, they were so brilliant to us. Like I said, people that we didn't actually know that well, just from, chucking tractor tires around together, so all of a sudden they just became like, just turning up on the doorstep. You're like, do you need a lasagna? I'll be like, we absolutely do need a lasagna. Thank you.
Look, there's never a time when
Lasagna.
you're going to turn a lasagna away, is it?
Exactly. And so it was this sort of, we've just felt really held by this, a kind of force field of just love and support from them. And so I really wanted the video to be, I had this idea because it's sort of more upbeat, and I just wanted it to feel or to look as kind of fun and uplifting as the kind of the energy and the intent that creates.
Oh, it's definitely got great energy. Definitely got that.
Yeah, so it's like there has to be a choreography sort of element, and I would really like it to just be us dancing, maybe not very well, but just in the woods and having fun, because that kind of spirit of just, it's very kind of naff, but it is a useful, like that term of like showing up, just I found it hugely therapeutic, particularly. So Dave was in hospital for about a month, at the worst point. He's better now, and I spent 5 minutes every day just doing chin-ups, which I'd always wanted to be able to do, but traditionally women have very bad upper body strength. It's just different kind of makeup, and it took me about 6 weeks, but I did it. It was just 5 minutes a day that I could put into just going outside. It was January. It was that kind of really bleak time of year.
Yeah.
And to feel yourself getting physically stronger as you come through, for me, the most challenging thing I've ever been through. It just felt strangely like I could I could visualize this sort of resilience. I was like, I know that I can do this. I know that I'm, and it helps with your mental kind of fortitude as well. And just aside from that, that physical community, those actual people who are around you. And, it's so important.
Is resilience a theme for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And the joy in resilience, because bad stuff is going to happen to all of us. It will just come. It's an inevitability, right? And admittedly, we've been through a lot in a quite short space of time, but it's sort of, it's never ceases to amaze me, the kind of the light that gets through. And so I really wanted the album to be a sort of really a document to that time, a kind of, just testifying that we were there, we went through it, we kind of somehow got out the other side. And hopefully that could be uplifting if it's something similar to what you've been through, or not, whatever, really, hopefully.
There's a certain sort of quirky playfulness to your music. Where does that come from?
Where does it come from? So there's an Ivor Cutler cover that I put on this record, and I just think I've always had. I think when you start writing, for me personally, it took a long time. They say you have to sort of write however many 100 songs to get through to your, the voice that feels a bit closer to what's in your head. And that certainly took a long time for me. And I you know, it's not the same for everyone, but for me, it definitely took time. And I didn't want to just write really, really serious songs. I mean, I always think my voice when I sing sounds quite serious, so I sort of have to try and undercut it a little bit. And I want things to sound conversational. I want things to. I definitely am on the side of kind of naturalism. Like with any writing, you know, whether it's for the theatre or anything, I want lyrics to be stuff that you would say, you know, maybe slightly elevated. Obviously, it's not completely literally as you would. It's not prose, but I like sort of playing around with that bit where the two meet. You know, where you could almost be talking, and yeah, just because I'm also quite a sort of silly person. I have a sense of humor, and it's always been a question trying to like bring those things together. So
do you immerse yourself in those sort of things? Is that the sort of thing that's fun to you, like comedy, or you know, sort of you know, what sort of things do you watch on TV, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I love. There's loads of comedy that I love. You know, I love drama too. But I you know, I've got pretty eclectic tastes. But ultimately, it's that thing of trying to find, trying to link up those different parts of your personality. Because you know, I do have serious thoughts as well. So it's sort of trying to pull them all together without getting that like weird dissonance that you sometimes get.
Actually, you can make some of the most serious stuff resonate
absolutely.
more, can't you, by not necessarily wallowing it, you know, but actually finding a slightly humorous or a slightly better you know, more open undertone to it, so that actually it just doesn't feel like it's, you know, ruining everybody's day.
No, absolutely. That's the thing. And you do, you know, increasingly, you know, you don't want to have obviously someone's response in the front of your mind. You know, you just want to get the thing out. But you know, so the example of like someone like Ivor Cutler, you know, that, you know, he was that song Beautiful Cosmos that's on the album, it has everything for me. It's you know, I heard it on I think it was Katie Tunstall was doing a documentary about it, and they played an excerpt of it, and I was like, this is absolutely perfect. You know, it's like you sit with your sandwich, I look at a roll, and you know, sometimes I open my mouth and shut it. We have a beautiful cosmos, you and me, we have a beautiful cosmos. And it just felt absolutely perfect. You know, it was the domestic, the idea behind this album started off as like hyper domestic. I wanted it to be like a doll's house or something, you know, when you're sort of from lockdown, but you know, where the everyday just expands and becomes, everything's out of proportion, you know, because that's all you're seeing, and life kind of shrinks down, bit kind of Alice in Wonderlandy, and that song Beautiful Cosmos just sounded perfect, and I find it really moving. But obviously some of the words are funny, you know. It's like it can be both.
Is there something as a musician you've struggled with physically in terms of making music over the years?
As in the struggle to find that voice, is that what you mean? Or
Well,
find
maybe,
that balance? Or
maybe not so much with the voice, but actually I'm always interested, you know, did you take to instruments particularly well, or was there one where you went, oh my goodness, I can never seem to get my hands to do this?
Okay, so I mean, I'm basically a classical sort of boffin. That's where I started. Like I learned piano at a very young age, and was totally hooked. Like I did a lot of classical music, and something.
Did that restrict you at all? Did that then restrict
possibly
you?
I don't know. It's in like I feel I picked up cello very quickly, and then more recently, it's, you know, in the last kind of, I don't know when I started playing guitar, about 5 or 6 years ago. That's been really fun because, and it's completely transformed, you know, writing on the guitar just feels like surprise after surprise, you know, it's really completely unguided, and you know, to the point that, you know, to play with, I think it's for other musicians. You know, all of my songs are in different tunings, and
Curse you.
yeah, exactly. But I'm trying to sort of bring it in line slightly, because certainly on this last tour, just trying to work out how to play all of these songs back to back. It's just a lot of tuning.
Yeah. Or a lot of guitars.
Yes, exactly, one or the other. But guitar I've really, really enjoyed. I mean, I have a kind of, you know, I can learn things very quickly, but then I probably plateau quite quickly. But I mean, jazz piano is something that's kind of always evaded me. I just feel like I will never, I'm always going to think about what chord I'm playing. I'm never going to be able to just find that, you know, full freedom with it. But, you know, I did start doing a jazz piano course a couple of years ago, actually just before my husband got ill. So I keep meaning to kind of bring it back again and get back on it. So yeah.
There's not a lot then that you haven't tried.
Yeah, I mean, there's different instruments I'd like to learn, but you know,
Drums.
Do you know what? Not so much the drums.
Not really fancying that. Not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I just do you know what? The clarinet is the one that I'd, for some reason, really love.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. The sort of texture of it, and so maybe one day. But the thing is, with these things, it's like it's a big expense, just like committing to just buying an instrument like that. But I think exploring, particularly like different instruments that let you kind of explore different genres, is kind of interesting too, because the piano is always going to lead you a certain way, and the guitar is, you know, like there's a song that I wrote called Jessica, which is the first song I really properly wrote on the guitar, and I just knew I basically had to learn it because I knew it wasn't going to work on the piano. I just had this sort of guitar part in my head, and I was like, right, I just need to try and work out how to play it. And it was sort of as simple as that. It was a real there was a sort of necessity of it. I was like, well, I've just got to figure it out. So
but you strike me though that if you entered a room and there was just like lots of different instruments there, you'd probably have a go. So if there was a dulcimer there, or
definitely,
you know, ukulele or something, you pick it up and have a go.
Yeah, I'll have a go. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I used to work in a violin and cello shop, so I've played a little bit of violin. I can sort of do, you know, I can figure things out normally. I say that, I mean, there's still loads of instruments that I'd be completely lost with, but yeah, it's a fun way, like I said, of different genres, because you can get sort of quite pigeonholed sometimes, or you get kind of stuck inside your own brain, really. So it's just about trying to find ways of like breaking out of that.
What, in terms of your listening to music, what was the door opening moment for you in terms of maybe hearing a particular piece or a group or an artist or whatever that went, ooh, I really need to do this with my life?
Yeah, I've got two very specific ones from when I was at uni, because I was studying languages, but I kind of knew I wanted to do music, and I wasn't really sure what kind of, you know, what form that was going to take. I'd already started writing, but I hadn't sung in front of anyone. So in my first year, I think, I went to see someone called Hayley Glennie Smith, and she was supporting M Ward. This is why you should always go early to see the support act.
Always.
My memory of that gig will always be Hayley Glennie Smith before anything. You know, I didn't really know M Ward that much. We were just going to see a gig. It was at the Bush Hall, and it seemed like a nice place to go. And she sang this song called Love You. And it was in 5. It was sort of just had this perfect lilt to it. There's something about her voice that sounded, maybe I heard something similar in it that I could, you know, anyway. So I had this strange mission coming back to uni. I was like, I got my friend Nick, who we've played in bands since, and I was like, I'm going to sing you this song. I think someone needs to sing it at the open mic night. I need to find, as in, I was sort of, I don't know who I thought I was like an A&R guy or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I need to find a singer. Like, it literally had not, it wasn't like secretly I was hoping he would, I was just genuinely like, it's a great song and we've got an open mic night coming. And I just think, I think it'd be really nice for it to get.
Do you think now, looking back, really deep down in your subconscious, you were going, and that's me?
I honestly don't know, because I was
No,
so painfully shy, and I'd
Right.
sung in shy of my voice, because I'd sung in choirs. In fact, I hadn't got into the choir in my school because they said my voice wasn't loud enough. So I'd sort of like written myself out of that. I was like, right, I can't sing. My sort of commodity, my assets are my piano playing, my cello playing. The voice is not going to be an option, even though I'd been writing songs since I was about 14, but I just was like, I'm not going to be the one who's going to sing them. Anyway, I sang him this song. I was like, you have to turn away, you can't look at me while I'm singing.
Oh, right, you had it.
And he was like, I think
the Jim Morrison moment.
Yeah, he was like, I think you should just sing the song, mate. Just do it. Like, who else are you going to get to sing it? And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And that was it. And then I started writing songs with this other guy Rob, and started performing more. And then by the time I had left uni, I was like, yeah, this is it. This will be me.
That's a story, isn't it? So if it hadn't been for that performance that you went to see, that song, and then your mate saying, well, you've got to sing it, we may never be here.
Yeah, no, it is. It's mad, I think,
But everyone's got those little moments, haven't
yeah,
they? And they're
exactly.
magic, really.
Exactly. And then there are smaller sort of incremental ones, because I know that I think I came across you through Polly Polsma, right? And Polly is someone who I saw about 5 or 6 years ago, when I was sort of having a little bit of a crisis of, some sort of a existential crisis about writing and about whether I was a proper artist or not. And just kind of general gubbins that came to me at the end of my 20s, when I was like, oh, what am I doing? And I saw Polly play. And there was something there, again, going back to that kind of conversational thing, and the fact that she sings in her own voice. She is English. I'm actually Scottish. I've just got a really useless kind of boring accent that's been kind of, it's just disappeared over the years. But she sang very much in her own voice and in her own words. She was kind of wordy and sort of slightly academic and bookish and sort of playful and clever. And I just thought that
slightly geeky in a way.
Yeah, I was like, that I like, and I haven't really seen that before. And that definitely was another moment of like, and I
totally know what you mean with Polly. I mean, and I say this with no disrespect to Polly, because I think her music's absolutely amazing. But sometimes you think, oh, she put another word in there, or that wasn't the word I was expecting to come.
Yeah,
but that's what's so good about it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a real dream getting to kind of, I got to play some shows with her last year, and then we did this live stream together last month, and hopefully we'll do some writing together too. That's a rare example of like meeting a hero who turns out to be just really lovely.
I think there's plenty, actually.
I know. But
there are plenty.
But no, I kind of had a feeling we'd get along, and luckily, I was right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And in terms of your music, where's the biggest challenge going forward? What's the one sort of big ambition for you that you feel like, around the corner, I'd love to do? This is the thing that I'd really love to do.
Well, there are many. I mean, to be totally honest, at this point, it's just a pure survival for a lot of us. Like being a singer-songwriter is not my only form of income. If it were, I mean, it just couldn't be. And having just done a tour that I booked, it's everyone will be saying the same thing. It's incredibly hard to to sell, to get people to buy music. It's incredibly hard to get people to come to gigs in some case, we are all struggling with the same things, like wherever you are on the kind of ladder or in the ecosystem. And yeah, a lot of us fighting for the same gigs on the same circuit. It just feels, it feels at the moment slightly impossible, but I feel very lucky to have, I write for the theatre, and we've had a great year so far. We've with sort of more stuff in the pipeline. So
what about film? Would you love a piece in the film?
Yeah,
yes,
of course, absolutely. I mean, it's just different forms of storytelling, isn't it? And I think I would love to move into that. And it's we'll be based in Scotland from later on in this year, and so I'm kind of excited to see how being part of like maybe a smaller scene, because the Scottish music scene is considerably it's smaller, it's friendlier, I think, because so it'll be exciting to see what kind of things come up.
There's some amazing stuff coming out of Scotland, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We had young artist Sylvie on this show. I don't know whether you've come across her at all.
It rings a bell, yeah.
And she did a documentary for the BBC on Lothian and what's coming out of Lothian, and
wow.
The fact of the matter is, there's some big artists that have come out of Lewis Capaldi, etc. So there's quite a vibrancy up there at the moment, even from some places where traditionally, I think what's happened there is traditionally it's been the major conurbations in Scotland where the music's come out of, but now it's like it is some of the more remote areas because of social media. It can happen. There are some artists really kind of breaking through from those areas, and maybe it's something to do with storytelling that needs to come out of. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of that. Do you find that yourself, even where you are there? Do you find that actually sometimes I mean, we, as you say, you say to some extent this was a lockdown album. Do you find that sometimes actually you can actually write out of the fact that there's not a lot happening as much as there is,
Yeah, well, it just makes space for other stuff to come through, doesn't it? And I guess, I mean, lockdown affected everyone in so many different ways, and in some cases, I've got friends who, it was too much space and they didn't do well, it wasn't good for them. Particularly, I think if you were living alone, that kind of that silence was really, really tough. But no, I mean, I think whatever you're, given, I mean, I wrote an album about cycling because I used to cycle a lot, and that was where all of my ideas came from, and I really miss, in terms of like places that we've lived and stuff, like that was, I do miss some sort of a commute or like having to walk somewhere for, whether it's walking around a city or, I think those kind of moments can be really, really fruitful. And I guess it's about trying to sort of, we'll be living near the beach, which I feel like is not too bad a place to start.
No, beaches are great. Absolutely. I'm still waiting for someone to write an album about service stations. I just
Well, Samantha Waits, who I just did a tour with, she did a whole album recorded in waiting rooms.
Really?
Which it was really beautiful. Yeah, it's a lovely album. It's like a live album, and every single song is in a different waiting room all the way around UK. Yeah.
You see, my concept for service stations was this, that service stations are really interesting places because people just pop into them, don't they, for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And then, but they're on the move.
Yeah.
They're constantly, they're moving through it. It's a tertiary place. It doesn't, you're not stopping there. But but they're also these kind of places where strangely, all walks of life come together for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas
Definitely.
actually they might avoid each other normally.
Yeah, completely. No, there's only a handful of, places like that now. Like A&E is another one where
Exactly.
you're just in the bucket of, and everyone's there. It's kind of extraordinary.
But I feel that, those kind of things are important. And I think that was one of the things for me about the whole lockdown period was we suddenly did reconnect with a lot of people where we didn't know where they'd got to, because we were all too busy kind of living. And suddenly, everyone was in the same place, which was here in front of us on a screen again. So, which wasn't a great reality, but it did mean we kind of made those connections again, which was
definitely. And there's so many people that will say now, like they did pick up some habits from lockdown that they are trying to, whatever the silver linings that kind of, whether that was like reconnecting with people that you've not been in touch with for a while, or like learning a language. I mean, I certainly wasn't learning a language, but
there's a guy, says Andrew, who works down the service station, swears he's Bob Todd. There you go. It all happens at a service station. For anyone that
your next project, do you write as well?
I very occasionally do. I don't get an awful lot of time because I'm so busy writing for other people, not music necessarily. Although I do have always on my desk for those people that don't know me. Alongside all of the various keyboard, like computer keyboards that I have, I do have on my desk one of these things, and I do have a guitar to the side of the desk, as well as my trusty record player, because I do need to write little bits of music for people for social media and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's for me, picking up the guitar is more a place of, more than anything at the moment, of just getting 10 minutes alone.
Oh yeah. No,
right?
There's a lot of that. Yeah. No,
I mean, it's something I've never asked a musician, but I'll ask you because you're here. Do you ever miss that about not being music, sort of, if music's part of your job? Do you ever kind of miss that part of music where it's like, actually, there's no expectation on me other than this is just like something I can just go and escape to?
Yeah, I remember my my friend Sam, who actually produced the Iron Horse album, that album that was about cycling. He, when I was just, when I was first picking up the guitar, he'd kind of show me a few little kind of licks, because there was something, he was like, once you can do this and then you can do this, and like roughly, bar chords, which I still can't really play. I remember getting to we'd done like a couple of sessions together, and he was like, really all you need now is just sort of 15 hours a day of just like noodling in your bedroom. But by this point I was sort of, had a job, was in my late 20s, that was just not gonna happen. But yeah, that sort of time just noodling
that's so important.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
really is.
And I think it's reminding ourselves, that's another thing that maybe in lockdown, that's the kind of time that just came out of just appeared, and it hadn't been there before, and it's gone away again very quickly. Life just goes back.
I know. I think everybody that had a guitar noodled in lockdown. But I think a lot of people have kind of left it, and it's disappeared.
It's really hard. And even I mean, I teach and I do all sorts of, but even just the discipline of practicing every day, if you're not gigging really regularly, or is hard enough. So if you're not a professional musician, then it's even harder. It's just us justifying that time. We're so kind of conditioned to try and make every minute productive, whereas what does that really mean?
What does productive really mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what? You've been an absolute pleasure to talk to. We've gained some little insights into the music of Me for Queen.
Yeah.
But just before we leave you, Why me for Queen, by the way?
Why me for Queen? I wish I had a better story behind it, but ME is my initials.
Yeah.
And I just like the sound of it. I was just writing down a load of stuff. I didn't, for whatever reason, when I was 23 or 24, whenever it was, I just didn't want to be my own name, Mary Erskine. I wanted it to be a different name. So I just wrote down a load of things, and that was the one that popped out. I was like, yep, that's it. Didn't think about it too much. And then here we are.
The correct answer always, Mary, is it looks good on a t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah, there's that too.
Always. If it looks good on a t-shirt, that's why I came up with the name. I don't need to justify
it's enough. It's enough. Exactly.
Absolutely. For anyone that hasn't checked out your music before, where's the best place to go and find it?
Well, Graham, the new album comes out a week on Friday, so this is very timely. And there's a remix of one of the songs that Tommy Perman, who used to record under the name Found, he has done a remix of Isolated, which is track number 5 on the album, that comes out on Friday, and then the whole album comes out the following Friday. But I have
Australia, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
I also have a Ko-fi page, which is sort of like Patreon, but just a bit cheaper for all concerned. Yes, you can follow me on there. It's a sort of subscriber platform. Or there's just good old Instagram or Facebook if you like to not quite get all the updates, because Facebook I don't think really they just don't show anyone anything anymore. So yeah, mailing list.
Let's make sure that we put those links in when we share this around. Okay, absolutely. So that if you want to give a little bit of tea and coffee money every month to
absolutely
Mary, to just keep it going.
We're doing an online listening party as well for subscribers in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So if you sign up in time for that, you can join us. We'll just do a kind of a live listening through kind of over Zoom, and I'll just be chatting through the whole album.
Oh, brilliant. Now, where would you most like people to be when they're doing the listening?
When they're doing the listening, well, what I'll do is I'll send a SoundCloud link round.
Yeah.
And then we'll all get together in a kind of Zoom group.
But it would be nice
but it
would be nice, wouldn't it, if somebody could be in a really random place doing the listening?
Oh, as in like how far flung?
Yeah.
I mean, Australia's a good place to start.
Australia's great.
I'll take Australia.
Maybe if Stonehenge would be a great place if someone wants to go and
some of the wonders of the world. What are they? Maybe a pyramid.
Yeah, exactly.
Top of Everest.
Well, I just think that would be great for the publicity, right? For the old Instagram.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to take part in that, and you can find yourself in a particularly interesting landmark area, maybe if you're on holiday somewhere.
So far I've got someone in California, someone in
exactly
the south of France. So
what time will it be?
8 p.m. UK time.
8 p.m. UK time next Friday.
So the listening party itself is 2 days after the album comes out. It's on Sunday the 4th of June.
On Sunday the 4th of June. I'll see if I'm down by the beach or somewhere like that. That would be great.
Yeah, lovely.
You see? And I can take you a photo of me listening by the beach, and everybody else can do the same, and we can send them over to Mary and she can compile those.
I could make a little video.
Of like where globally it was listened. I just love having creative ideas about things like that, because I just think, sometimes we just don't, us as listeners, or we don't add to the creative atmosphere enough.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's an active listening, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to a guest a couple of days ago, and we decided that actually when he does his listening party, everybody's going to write, because his music doesn't have any lyrics to it.
Oh, wow.
And so we've decided that it's a listening party, but everybody's going to write their response to the music.
That's lovely.
and then bring that together, because I think that's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Either that or maybe a drawing, maybe
Or a drawing.
my last album. Yeah, my friend did like a doodle for every album on the album, every song on the album, which turned into like a book of postcards. But I love that, like a draw along, maybe.
Yeah. All of those things are beautiful things.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much, Graham. Thank you for asking me.
No, it's wonderful. I love your music. I love your quirkiness. I love the sense of reality that you bring to everyday things, but in a beautiful, creative way that makes us all smile a little bit, because we all need that.
Hooray. I'll remember that. I'll take that as a quote, if that's okay.
Of course you can. Of course you can. And please feel free to share this with people. And if you've been watching and you like this and you want to share it, please do share it around the world, so that more people can join Mary's little coffee shop
Odyssey.
and pay us some money, because pianos and guitars and stuff aren't cheap. And great show from Aberdeen. Yes. There we go. Got someone up in Aberdeen there already. So yeah, when you listen, Andrew, please take some photos from Aberdeen. That would be great.
Yeah. Show us where you are.
And until next time, thanks for listening to my music. We'll see you soon with yet more interviews like this. It's all about the music, folks. Nothing else. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.